Hey, what's up, guys? Zack, Poff, MaxPreps national football editor here, and it's Mater Dei versus St. John Bosco week, the biggest week so far of the season. You got number 3 St. John Bosco getting ready to host number 1 Mater Dei on Friday, October 1st. Is definitely, you see it right there, a get your popcorn ready type of game. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk about the brief history over the last 5 years between these two marquee programs. And it's crazy to think, if you just look from 2016 to the spring of 2021, these two schools have combined to send over 100 players to the FBS level. Now, looking back to the 2016 matchup during the regular season, JT Daniels' sophomore season, and really St. John Bosco dominated the season series between Mater Dei and the Braves. They won 6 straight. Until that game, JT led Mater Dei to a 26-21 dub. Thanks to a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter, he found Osiris St. Brown for a touchdown with just under 9 minutes left to cut the lead to 21-19. And then Jalen Cole got a big INT, and then Shacoby Harper punched it in from 1 yard out. And Mater Dei won 26-21 and snapped the Braves' 6-game winning streak against them. Amon St. Brown, now with the Detroit Lions, had a big punt return touchdown in that game that kind of sparked Mater Dei. But these two met again in the CIF Southern Section Division I Championship, and St. John Bosco flexed their muscle and won 42-28. They had a strong rushing attack in that game. They had 3 cats rush for over 100 yards each: Real Mitchell, Demetrius Flowers, and Terrence Beasley. And the defense really dominated that game. They picked off JT Daniels 3 times. And then St. John Bosco went on to beat De La Salle and win their second CIF Open Division state title. Now jumping ahead to 2017, and I'll say it again, man, this Mater Dei team was the best high school football team I've ever seen. They went undefeated and did not trail at any point during the entire year. And when they met up with St. John Bosco the first time around, this was DJ Uyunglele's first career start at St. John Bosco. He'd played in previous games but never started, and he played pretty well in that first game. Mater Dei won 31-21, but you look at DJ's stat line, he completed 12 of 22 passes, threw for 257 and a couple of touchdowns. But really the story of that game was JT Daniels and the Monarchs offense. JT finished 18 of 24 passing for 326 and 2 TDs, and he added 97 yards rushing. Amon St. Brown went off. He had 8 grabs for 206 and 2 TDs, and Mater Dei's defense had 7 sacks. And these two met again in the CIF Division I Southern Section Championship, and Mater Dei cruised to a 49-24 win. JT Daniels once again had a big night. He completed 19 of 26 passes for 299 yards and 5 TDs. Brew McCoy had 3 touchdown receptions. Amon-Ra had 8 receptions for a $150 and a score. DJ Uyunglele had a very efficient game. He completed 20 of 21 passes, but a lot of short passes, threw for 172 and 2 TDs. And this was the Monarchs' first section title since 1999. They went on to beat De La Salle 52-21 in the CIF Open Division Championship, and they went wire to wire as the number 1 team in high school football that year. Let's fast forward to 2018. And when they first met on October 13th, the previous night there was lightning and the game got delayed a day, so they went from playing on Friday to Saturday. And, you know, a lot of people thought Mater Dei was going to win easily because they beat IMG Academy earlier that season. Bryce Young was playing out of his mind. St. John Bosco dominated. They won 41-18. DJ Uyunglele completed 15 of 21 for 278 yards, had 5 TDs. George Solani, now at Boise State, had a monster night. He rushed for a $118 and a TD. Also had a touchdown reception. Jake Bailey had himself a night, 6 grabs for a $161 and 3 TDs, and Chris Hudson also had a touchdown. But Mater Dei got a chance of redemption in the CIF Southern Section Division I Championship, and they pulled out a 17-13 win. The defense really balled out and frustrated DJ Uyunglele all night long. Rajon Davis, now at USC, had an interception. Elias Ricks, now at LSU, had an interception. And DJ finished the night 6 of 19 passing for 115 yards, had 1 TD and 2 INTs. But really the defense dominated for Mater Dei that night. And Bryce Young, he threw for nearly 200 yards and a TD. Brew McCoy had 72 yards receiving and a touchdown. And big Mike Martinez, now at UCLA, had 5 grabs for almost 100 yards too in that one. But it was really a defensive effort for Mater Dei to win the CIF Division I Southern Section Championship. And they went on to beat De La Salle a couple weeks later and finished number 2 in the top 25 rankings that season. Now, looking at 2019, this year, DJ and Bryce Young, both these guys were playing out of their mind. They ended up splitting the co-national player of the year that season because it was impossible to really just give it to one of them. And in that first game, Mater Dei won 38-24, And Bryce Young threw for 256 yards, 3 TDs, also rushed for 2 scores. So he was responsible for all 5 Mater Dei touchdowns. Cody Epps was unstoppable. He had 11 grabs for 175 yards and 3 TDs. And DJ threw for 320 yards and 2 TDs, had 1 interception late in the game to Jalen Davies, who's now at Oregon. But fast forwarding to game 2, the CIF Southern Section Division I Championship, this was the best high school football game I've ever been to. Mater Dei IMG was great, but this one topped that. Mater Dei jumped out to a 28-5 lead in the second quarter, and DJ led the Braves to 34 consecutive points, and they pulled out a miracle 39-34 win. You look at DJ's final stat line, it was insane. He completed 26 of 38 passes, but he threw for 446 yards and 5 TDs. Logan Loya had 10 grabs for $164 and 2 scores. Chris Hudson balled out too. He had 7 grabs for nearly 100 yards and 2 TDs and had the game-clinching interception on the last play. Nate Burrell, Jake Bailey, and Hudson all had 1 interception. Bryce Young threw for over 400 yards and 5 TDs, but did throw those 3 interceptions that kind of came back to bite Mater Dei. And Mater Dei was ranked number 1 all season until that game. St. John Bosco was number 2, obviously jumped Mater Dei after the dub, and they finished the year unanimously ranked number 1 in high school football. And then looking back to last spring, this was a weird season, no state playoffs, none of that. So this was really to decide who was the top team in California last spring. And Elijah Brown, he was a freshman last spring, didn't play like it at all. He led Mater Dei to a 34-17 win. Brown completed 14 of 23 passes for over 200 yards and 4 TDs. CJ Williams had a couple of TD grabs. Kyron Ware Hudson had a touchdown, and same with Josiah Zamora. And, the Monarchs defense played great. They picked off Kate Hauser a couple of times and really frustrated the Braves offense. So it's going to be fun to see, from that game to moving on to this matchup coming up on October 1st, how much both teams have gotten better. Both teams have dominated so far this season. So it's going to be a fun game. Make sure to stay locked in with MaxPreps. We're going to have everything ready for you leading up to that game. And make sure to follow the score live on Friday. It's going to be a good one. You got number 1 Mater Dei traveling to St. John Bosco, the number 3 team in the country, in the biggest high school football game of the season.